From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee.
Coffee's for closers only.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
And Corey Clark.
What is up, everybody? I'm Aslan. He's Corey. Welcome into this live edition of Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee, DeLunaCoffee.com. Come explore our world of coffee. Promo code underneath Corey. Promo code for Warchant.com underneath me. If you're listening to this on the podcast, you're like, what are you talking about, Aslan? It's a live video that we do on Wednesday nights, everybody, but we do the podcast for you folks on Thursday. Speaking of DeLuna, real quick, Corey, I need to mention this before I forget. DeLuna Coffee based headquartered out of Pensacola, Florida, which will be entertaining you, or rather you and Cameron will be entertaining the masses in Pensacola on Thursday, August 26th. That is today, if you're listening to the podcast. Tomorrow, if you're watching us live, 5:30 p.m. at Seville Quarter, the Greater Pensacola Seminole Club Fall Kickoff Party. Jim Curry is going to be a guest speaker, but man, who cares about him?
Hey,
Corey
well,
Clark,
let's not be like that.
Jim Curry's good. Good human beings. Good but Corey and Jeff, as you see on the screen, will be there. Free to attend, but RSVP if you can beforehand. Again, the Greater Pensacola Fall Kickoff Party. Excited for that, Corey? Going to bring a lot of good anecdotal stuff to them?
I am. I wonder, Seville Quarter, I'm not very familiar with Pensacola. Is that like an outdoor area, like a promenade or something? Or is it inside? I'm curious what that's going to be, not because of inside outside as much as what the world's going on with right now, as much as me sweating profusely. Yeah. If it's going to be 5:30 in the Panhandle in late August, Daddy's going to be drenched pretty quickly. So I'll have a towel with me. I'll be like John Chaney. I'll have a towel, or John Thompson. I'll have a towel over my shoulder.
Or Jared Tarkanian.
Yeah. And I'll just be dabbing myself. Yeah. Folks, I apologize. I got new light bulbs in this light right here, and it keeps slowly rotating away from me. I don't quite understand what's going on, but it won't stop spinning. So I apologize when my head gets bright and then gets back in the shadows again.
Do need to apologize to the masses. I agreed when Corey was like 11 days away, or Sebastian Janikowski days away. He was 38 or 39, I think. Somebody corrected us politely. But we are Drew Weatherford days away as we do this live, recorded. Give me a 10. Nigel Carr? Nigel Carr was 12 or something.
Derek Brooks is probably the easiest one to go with there. We'll stay with Derek Brooks. He's the 10 in our hearts. Okay,
there we go. So that's right. But again, if you're going to be in the Pensacola area, go check out Corey and Jeff, 5:30, Seville Quarter Fall Kickoff Party. We got lots of questions coming in here on YouTube, and people want to know or talking about Josh Griffis. Noliak says, good luck to Josh Griffis.
Yeah.
News came down late on Wednesday that he's no longer part of the program. Now, that doesn't mean that he's no longer enrolled at the school, but he's no longer part of the football program. Griffis,
well, and he put his name in the portal as we record this.
Really?
25 minutes ago, he tweeted out that he was entering the transfer portal.
No kidding. Good for him. Way to move fast, man.
Oh, I mean that's one way to look at it. He did move fast. Like, all right, I'm not on the roster anymore on Seminoles.com. Guess I'll put my name in the portal. No time like the present.
Yeah. We'll go ahead and pull up the tweet then here. He's got a message. Thank you, Florida State, for allowing me to come play football for y'all's program and creating great memories. I will forever cherish the memories I've made while being at Florida State. I would like to give a huge thanks to all the Florida State fans for always showing continuous love and support. I also want to thank all the coaches from Florida State for pushing me each and every day to make me a better player in person. Lastly, I want to give a huge thanks to all my teammates and the bonds I've created while along my journey. With that being said, I'll be entering the NCAA transfer portal. As always, go Noles. Heart emoji. So there we go. All right. 3-star defensive end who at one point I think was committed to Louisville.
Yeah.
Flipped him kind of last minute. Norvell and the staff did this. This wasn't like a Willie thing or anything like that. But the news comes down Wednesday. He's a guy that, was kind of maybe falling a little bit out of the rotation, at least on the 2 deep. So I don't know how much of a sort of ding that'll be to their operation this season. But nonetheless, this is part of the life that we live now.
Yeah.
the climate that we live in. So
you wish him well, right? You just wish him well. Hope he lands on his feet somewhere and has a productive career.
Yeah. So that's what we got to say about that one. I mean, I don't know if anybody wants more details on it. Probably not going to give you any more on it because anything at this point is really speculation right now. So anyhow, so what did you take away from Wednesday's practice, Corey? We were out there the whole time.
As we always are.
All 25 periods. You know, I'm not going to be able to do it anymore sometimes, Corey. I'm not going to lie, man. I had a contractor over today doing some heating and cooling for me. I left the house. They were supposed to vent my air conditioning vent in the house, in the kitchen, underneath my cabinet, like out the side of it. They literally put the vent directly underneath my cabinet, centered up. So it's just blowing into nothing. It's blowing into oblivion. But hey, I was there to watch practice today, so that's cool.
Well, look, man, what do you get new contractors, I guess, is the point of that story. Don't blame practice on poor contracting.
Fault, but I don't need to be there the whole time. I should have been here observing that. But nonetheless, what did you observe today on Wednesday?
I observed I asked that question to Norvell. You folks can watch it on the YouTube channel. You're on the YouTube channel right now if you're watching this live. About Jordan Travis's escapability and running ability, because again, I've made this point before, but when you're by the way, I see that Eric Angel. I think Janik, I don't know why. I think he was 11 in the pros, maybe. Is that what I'm thinking of?
Yes.
But I'm almost positive now that that's jogged my memory. I think he was 38 actually at Florida State, not 39. But watching Jordan Travis on third down, like 3rd and 6.
It's third down.
Right. Stand in the pocket and scan the field for an open receiver when one's not there. You start thinking, okay, when you're watching film with him, there we go. Nice. Look at that physique too. Seabass getting it done. When you're watching film with Jordan Travis, you're the quarterback coach or the OC or the head coach on a 3rd and 5 play, and maybe he misses a read, maybe he stays in the pocket too long. How do you evaluate, okay, in a real game, there's that running lane right there, and that's 27 yards. That's probably 2 first downs at least with his running ability and escapability because he's wearing a green jersey, and they don't want these guys taking off every play. They want them handing off to the running backs on the zone read for the most part. They want them, staying in the pocket and throwing. So that was watching Jordan Travis. I nailed it. Watching Jordan Travis today, there were a couple of plays where I'm like, yeah, man, they blew the whistle. That's a first down and a lot more. And that's what I kind of got. It just reminded me, oh, yeah, this kid is a pretty special athlete. He's getting better throwing the ball, but he's a pretty special athlete. So that was one of my main takeaways.
I wonder what he's going to have to do for me to think as highly of him as you and Ira do. Or that should be like the question for Renegade Express. Like, Aslan, what do you want to see from Jordan Travis that will make you a believer that he is this sort of rare blend of speed and quickness and elusiveness? Because I didn't take that from Wednesday's practice, but that's fine. That's why we're both out there. Two sets of eyes, two different sort of opinions on things. I mean, I did see some of what you're talking about, but there was one play where Kevin Noles came in on a blitz.
Yeah. That was a well-designed play. We're not going to tell you where Kevin Noles lined up, where he came from, but they did not see him at all, which was cool, man. They blitzed a lot last year and nothing ever happened. I mean, that thing opened up like the Red Sea and he was in there in a heartbeat. That was a really cool play design. That's going to happen, man. It happens to all quarterbacks. They get beat by a blitz occasionally. They don't see it. They're confused. A guy that's only started 5 games, it's going to happen a little bit more to him probably. But yeah, that wasn't great. That wasn't a great play. But I'm trying to think.
I'm not trying to talk bad about Jordan on that, but that was a great defensive call and everything. Yeah. I think there's some plays, man. I think we watched 10 plays with Jordan Travis. I think you and Ira think like 9 of those 10 he's gone. Like it's a huge gain. I think I'm probably on like 6.
I want to point. Yeah, I got you. I want to point out 2 plays or 2 things from the practice. There was a play where Jordan Travis, it was a 3rd down, 3rd and 7. He stayed in the pocket. It almost he stepped up in the pocket. It almost threw kind of a no-look almost pass. Like he couldn't even really see where he was throwing, but he threw to a spot under pressure that Ja'Kai Douglas made a nice catch on for a first down, like a 12-yard gain. But almost like it was like it had been coached into him. It wasn't like he saw it and threw it. Like, oh, that guy's open, let me throw it. He did it on memory of where the guy should be, if that makes sense. And it was a great throw, great catch. And Mike Norvell did like one of these, and turned away and was doing this. Like Like it was all in his brain. It's like, okay, something just clicked right there on that third down to beat the blitz, to step up and hit a guy across the field for a nice game without even seeing him. That stood out, that moment. Really, Norvell's reaction stood out more than the moment itself. You could tell that was something he'd been waiting to see. But also, Tre'shaun Ward's going to play, man. I know he was a former walk-on. He's a running back that maybe you don't think of first when you think of this team. It's Corbin, it's Toafili. Maybe it's the DJ Williams kid from Auburn. They don't have – he has a skill set that's a little different than everybody else. Toafili, we all think, can be a pretty special guy. He's got a lot of he make a miss. He's got a lot of make a miss in him. But he doesn't have, in my opinion, he doesn't have quite the burst of Tre'shaun Ward. Kind of a small, squat rocket ship when he gets a lane. And he had three, understand some of it is like, you're playing second teamers or it's a different look, whatever it is. He had three really long runs today. And they're not tackling, by the way. You point that out too. He had three really long runs where he hit the hole like out of a cannon and outruns people. It's a unique ability that I think he has a chance to play a lot. And I don't know that I would have thought that. Even I know he'd had a nice camp, but before today, I don't know that I would have thought that. Now I think he's a legitimate part of their offense and a part of their plans. And he's a fast dude.
It's just crazy to me that he can look so good like you're talking about. I think in Jacksonville he might have had a good day, but then he kind of, I don't want to say he disappears, but then there's also moments where there's certain days where he doesn't have as sharp of a day. You don't see him busting off as many plays. And I know that's football. Like nobody's going to always look amazing, but it's crazy because we saw him in the spring. I think there was like he had a practice and at least a scrimmage where everybody was able to watch it. Everyone's like, man, look at this guy. And it's like, oh, okay, well, he's a walk-on. Let's not get too excited. And then you kind of saw it taper off a little bit. But, this is fall camp. It matters a little bit more. It's a little bit different. So it's extremely encouraging.
Well, and I think we're allowed to give some observations. They're personal opinions, but I will say this, just in these 2 weeks, he's certainly been more noticeable and made more flash plays than Toafili. And I love Toafili. I think Toafili has a chance to be really good. But when you're talking about game-breaking, scoreboard-changing type plays, man, he's got a little something to him. Now I say that, who knows, man? He might not play 25 snaps this year. I'm just telling you, it looks like he's a part of the plans, and it looks like there's a good reason because he's got elite level burst. You have elite level burst, don't you, Aslan?
I don't. I popped you up on the screen. I was going to try to run over to my backpack over there to pull out my notepad, to pull out my notes and my observations.
Don't put me on the screen by myself. The lighting situation just ain't it. It's not. I apologize, guys. Again, I have it squared away, and they just won't rotate over.
By the way, good news. Vicky Johns Franklin says that it's a bar inside and outside. Ed says it's also inside. Brett, Courtney, I will be there. It's a 7-bar facility. 7
nice.
bars?
7 bars. Nice.
Sounds like
which one's the.
Sounds like the Tennessee Strip, man.
I know. I was going to say, which one's the honky tonk? I'm going to that one.
All right. Let's see here.
And Ed, I can't wait to see you, buddy. I can't wait to see you. Come over and say hello, please.
Kurt Searcy asks, Aslan, have you asked Coach Norvell about who will be the starter at quarterback on Wednesday? Asking for a friend. I kid, he says. Thanks for all the hard work, Aslan and Corey. Yeah, we asked him. Corey wrote a whole story about it, too.
Well, you weren't asked there's no point in asking, hey, who's the starter? Yeah. We asked it in a way that got the answer he was going to give. They're like politicians at this time, man. No matter how you ask it, they're going to answer it the way they want to answer it. He did say that, I appreciate that, Aslan, you leaving, but not keeping me off the full screen. He said that it's still a competition, it's still a battle. They're going to keep evaluating. The quarterback's going to keep competing. And if there's an announcement to be made soon, they'll make it, essentially. Said he likes what he's seen out of Mackenzie Milton. They have a plan with him, a plan in place. And also talked really highly about Jordan Travis and Chubba Purdy. It's not like he ever talks negatively about someone. But yeah, we'll see again. Maybe he'll be asked Saturday. He said, I feel like obviously, ideally, you'd want to know who your starting quarterback is. And I think they do. I certainly think they will by Saturday, right? With going into game prep, they are going to know. And at that point, maybe you make an announcement if you've already decided. But again, we don't see any reason why they would. They probably won't. So you guys will be in the dark. We'll be in the dark. We'll all find out Sunday night under the lights. But he was asked and gave a non-answer answer because that's what head coaches do.
You know, Ira kind of mentioned this, I don't know, as a joke, but I took it seriously. So don't ever bait me on these things, Ira. But like, what if Norvell and the staff is playing like a whole different level of roster management where they think, and listen, they've got the data from last year that's not very encouraging about 13 being able to go 13 weeks of a season. Like, what if they think there's a certain way they can use both of these guys to maximize them over the course of a 12-game season?
Sure.
I think they'd love for Jordan Travis or Mackenzie Milton to start week 1, play fantastic, upset Notre Dame, and then take this thing to 9-10 wins. But I think they also realize that, you know, Milton's coming off listen, there's no precedent really to Mackenzie Milton. There's no precedent. I mean, you can say Alex Smith, but I think Alex Smith was not nearly as catastrophic as Mackenzie Milton, and he's also a pro, so he gets, that's all he was doing. Mackenzie Milton's allowed to go to class, and you can laugh at that, whatever you want, but it's different, man. I do think it's different. So, let's not lose sight of the fact that probably no matter the growth that Jordan Travis does make, that we still need to see him be able to absorb contact and make it through an entire season. And let's not lose sight of the fact that Mackenzie Milton's still dealing with the knee injury and hasn't really, I told Ira, I'm like, well, hey man, he pushed himself in spring. Like, we saw Mackenzie out there every single day in spring competing, but that's a little bit more spaced out. They would practice once, twice or 3 times a week. This has been a really grueling camp, man. They're going 5-6 days in a row this entire time. So we will monitor it for everybody, Kurt. Nonetheless, this guy's here, man. This guy is here, Corey. My guy's here. Let's go, Ray Pereira. I got to pull the microphone. I'm probably yelling too loud, but let's go. He just gave us $200 American.
That's crazy. Ray, you're the man. You're the man. He calls you a 5-star land. I like that. That's nice. Just called me Corey. That's fine. He went away from hard Corey, which I'm a fan of. But Ray, again, it's really, really nice, man. You don't have to do that. We're so happy you do, though. You're
really nice. I'm telling you that you wrote a really good story today, Corey. You just gave us $200 American, man. Let's go, Ray.
Seriously, Ray, if you want to stay here any weekend, you're free to. Now, look, kind of a weird deal, but the Notre Dame weekend, my ex-wife is coming into town with her husband. She's staying here at my house. I'm probably going to stay at Stephanie's house, but I got extra rooms here, Ray. And Shanna's nice. Her husband, Ryan's nice. Come stay with them, man. Come stay with them Saturday and Sunday night. Whatever you got, whatever you want, buddy. Whatever you want. Warchant will take care of you.
Ray, we paid Devontae Love Taylor, and he took over my office. So you pay us. This is yours. This office, the bed.
You can have Aslan's house.
Yeah, you can have
for a weekend at least. Yeah. For a weekend, you get his house.
Yeah, $200 will get you that. Well deserved, well earned. Ray, thank you so much, man. We can't say enough about your generosity, man. We appreciate it. This is like over a year now of you just coming in here and doing crazy stuff like this. It's amazing. All right. Way too early score prediction. Man. There's moments, Corey. I'm not lying just because Ray just threw money and got us in a good mood. There's been moments the last 48 hours when I've been at practice. I'm like, man, I don't think it's too crazy to think they can win. I don't think it's too crazy to think they're going to win. Man. Way too. I still don't know. 31-27 Notre Dame. I'm thinking.
You don't have to give the winner. Just he didn't ask for that. He just wanted the score. I was going to say 31-23. I think we're both on the. And that would be a positive step. Maybe if the defense holds them to 31 and maybe under 9 yards to carry. Has a little more what for up the middle. I would say R24. I didn't say who would win. Maybe Florida State wins. I do think it'll be a close game. I do expect the offense to do some things. Again, it's a team they scored 4 touchdowns on last year, so they're not scared of that. It's more about how the defense adjusts to that offense because the defense got run over like a truck by a truck last year. And so I want to see what that looks like, the improvement there. But yeah, man, I could see somewhere 31-26, something in that range maybe. Won't tell you who wins though. Wait till next week, and I'll give you my winner. But that's my score prediction.
let's stay on that sort of topic, Corey. And I'm joking a little bit about not maybe going and watching every single minute of practice here for the next, 10 days, because, we can't film, which is kind of what I'm, brought here to do mainly, or I was. Now I do all this. I love it, though. Is there stuff that could your mind flip here in the next 10 days? Like, do you think you can see stuff that'll make you think, all right, like, give me that 5.5 number. I will hammer the over, Vegas. You start thinking 7 or 8,
No, but not because I just think at some point practice there. I mean, we didn't get to watch practice last year, so we don't know what August 25th version of Florida State 2020 looked like compared to this one. So it's hard to know how much they've improved. I do think they're better. You watch them. The defense seems to get after the quarterback, but it's going to give its Florida State's offensive line. So I think the Notre Dame game will give us a much better predictor of how they're going to be than watching them in practice. There are some things that excite you. Again, I think the receivers are better than I thought they were going to be. The running backs have something to them, maybe. I mean, throwing Ward in there, man, I'm just telling you, with Toafili and Corbin, that's a nice trio. 3 guys that do 3 different things. He's got a chance to make a couple big plays this year for that team. He could be a difference maker. And then watching somebody like Dennis Briggs on the defensive line gives you hope that, okay, not only do they have the 4 guys that we know about, 3 of them are transfers with Lovett, Jermaine Johnson, and Keir Thomas, but you also have a guy in Dennis Briggs that's made a big step, it looks like, and could be a real player for this team too. So again, you don't have enough depth on the defensive line, not by a long shot. You better stay healthy. But Dennis Briggs is as Adam Fuller called. I think Adam Fuller called him the X factor. Definitely said he was very, very important to the defense.
Do we not like catching Notre Dame week 1? I mean, I know you'd rather own what Jacksonville say, but if you have to play Notre Dame, like, wouldn't you rather catch them week 1 at home than anything else?
Sure. Yeah. And you go back to when they played. Remember Satterfield's first game at Louisville was Notre Dame on a Sunday night. I think it was at least a primetime game. It was maybe a Monday night game. And Louisville was coming off a terrible season. And they hung with them until the 4th quarter. And that was a good Notre Dame team with Ian Book. So there is a chance maybe you got a new quarterback, you got a new offensive line. There might be some struggles there. They're going to try to run it down your throat. Understand that. They're going to come in thinking they're going to run for 400 yards because it's what they did last year. So if you can at least early on stop the run and put them into 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, maybe it changes the game plan a little bit, and it could change the game because they're coming in, even with a brand new offensive line, expecting to run it down your throat.
I wonder how much money we could donate to Dylan Gibbons' fundraiser or his charitable works to be like, what were the conversations like on the sideline when the offensive line was coming back after scoring a touchdown? Like, what were you guys talking about? Was it like the defensive line just doesn't have it? Was it like the linebackers don't see it? Was it like this is going to be a fun night? Like, what was the discussion?
Probably all that.
Yeah. All right. Well, nonetheless, it's in the past. We're climbing, everybody. Ray, come on, man. Thank you, man. Thank you very much.
Too good, Ray. Too good.
Eric Angel's also in the crib. Thank you, Eric. Get a little bit of that.
Yeah, Eric.
20 bones. Thank you, Eric. Eric hears that the ACC is undecided about this alliance mergers, playoff expansions. Any clarification on this? Saw it this morning on Packer and Durham. I read something about their ACC is all about doing the scheduling, doing a voting block, trying to, get a consensus when they have to vote on things to maybe stand in the way of the SEC. I did see something about the Big Ten and the Pac-12 think they should expand. I don't know if they mean like expand the playoffs or expand the footprint and add some more teams. So the ACC seems to not want to go. I think the expansion by adding more teams to the fold. Man, I don't know. What do you got? 14 in the ACC, 15 if you count Notre Dame, and then
You don't. They're not part of the conference, so they're not number 15. They're not number 14.5. They're on their own.
I mean, you got over 40 teams. I don't know how much more you really want.
No, I did not see Packer and Durham. It's good to know they're talking football now that we're in August. That's good to see. Packer and Durham, keep it up, my guys. I really do like both those guys, but Wes Durham especially. Just seems like a good dude and a great announcer. So it's good that they're talking football. But no, I did not see that conversation. I'm not hearing about that again, man. It's it's so undefined. It's hard to even say what you'd be against or for right now because they were so vague in what the goals are. I mean, we all know the goal is to kind of keep the SEC from world domination, but it's not in writing, and their plans aren't really in writing. So it's hard to know what as long as they're in it together. But I don't know, unless the ACC thinks they're going to get some better deal from ESPN very soon. I don't know what any of this really matters for the ACC with that stupid grant of rights till 2036.
Eric, as more details become available, we'll distill it for you. We'll let you know what we think.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Khalil's here, everybody. What's up, Khalil? Get a little bit of this. $10. Thank you, Khalil. Appreciate it. Other than winning the dadgum game, what would be the best way to honor Coach Bowden? How does Mickey Andrews Stadium at Bobby Bowden Field sound?
I think you'd want to flip that. Yeah, you'd flip that. Mickey Andrews Field at Bobby. Yeah, I saw somewhere on Twitter that there was some petition to rename Stadium Drive Bobby Bowden Drive. I don't know if that's caught, if that's really, maybe a bill was introduced. I don't know. I don't even know how stuff like that gets done. I need to do some research. But Bobby, I mean, come on, man. Bobby needs to have the stadium named after him. All for that. Or at least call it Bowden Campbell if you want. But I think it should just be Bobby Bowden Stadium. He almost literally built the thing to what it is now. Doak Campbell started the sport. Great. Bobby Bowden made Florida State football what it is. Give him the stadium. Fine. You do something for Mickey, for crying out loud. The guy is still around the program. He was out at practice 3 days ago or last week. He was out at practice. He's still around the program. He's a great ambassador for the university. He coached there for 26 years. He's the second most important person to ever come through the Moore Center when it comes to football. He helped build that thing, not as much as Bowden, but close. Bowden hired him, but Mickey was very, very important. I don't know. I would love them to name Stadium Drive Mickey Andrews Drive. That's where I was going with that. Bowden's got a statue. Bowden's gonna have the stadium named after. I think, doesn't he still have the stained glass thing? Is that still there?
Oh yeah, that's.
I mean, there's Bowden stuff everywhere, and with good reason. I get it. He's the patriarch, but man, Mickey's got nothing. Al Dunlap has a couple of statues at Florida State. Mickey Andrews has zero. I would like them to honor Mickey in some way. Maybe let him ride Renegade and plant the spear before the game. But yes, Mickey Andrews Field at Bobby Bowden Stadium would work with me. But yeah, if you don't do that, give the dude a statue, name the practice fields after him, or name the stadium drive after him. Yeah.
Andrews Way would be a cool, make it like a cobblestone road so it's really rough to go over. Call it Andrews Way.
Yeah, there you go. Nice. Nice.
Make it gritty. Oh, by the way, this was from the ESPN story the other day. It said that Jim Phillips said the ACC does not have a position yet on whether to approve the plan, while the Big Ten and Pac-12 remain in favor of expansion. That's for the college football playoff. So I was wrong about the footprint of the conference.
Yeah, I mean, but everybody's on board with that. Like, it's just a lot more. Even though SEC will get a lion's share of it or a good bit of it, it's more money for everyone, and it's more opportunities for your teams to get in the playoff and make more money for your schools. So he can say he's for it or against it or whatever. Every conference commissioner is going to be for an expanded playoff. They always are. If you tell them it's X $100 million more each year, they'll be like, yeah, okay, sure.
Chip Corley asked, do you guys have any events or meetups planned for September 4th or 5th before the game?
So I would say the Warchant thing will be the Warchant event is we can announce that, right?
That's the Jeff Cameron Libations Fest that we're
man, it's not that anymore. It's the annual Jeff Cameron Show appreciation thing, but he's part of Warchant now.
Yeah, I know.
So this falls under that umbrella. The umbrella is now owned by Warchant, so it's a Warchant party, and that will be at Corner Pocket on Appalachia, starting at 2:00. On Saturday before the game. If you are a fan of Seminole Headlines, my other venture in the podcast video realm, we have one at Horizons on Friday night at 5:30. Get there early because parking can be a bit of a hassle on Bannerman. But Seminole Headlines will have something at 5:30. That clearly is also affiliated with Warchant. And then the other one, the Jeff Cameron one, is Saturday at 2 at Corner Pocket. Be there for both if you want. No autographs, obviously. I'll take one picture per family. So I'm not gonna take a picture with a husband, a wife, then the kid, and then the dog. You know what I mean, Aslan? We'll all get in there together, take one picture, and then move on.
You're just being reasonable. I think that's a total
Right.
reasonable accommodation there.
And $40 a picture.
All right. Look at Ed. Ed, what are you doing?
Come on,
This
Ed.
works. Come on, Ed. Let's go.
Dollar bills, y'all.
100 American. Let's go. Ed says Courtney, Brett, and I can't wait. He says can wait, but I think he means can't wait.
Let's
to see
hope.
Corey and Jeff Thursday night. We will have fun. That's right. They'll be hopped up on this good stuff. DeLuna Coffee, everybody. DeLunaCoffee.com. Check out the website. Ed, his family, loyal, fervent Florida State fans and boosters. They support this program. Buy coffee. You already drink coffee. Help out a Nole and have the best coffee around, I say. And you guys are in Publix, too, in Tallahassee. I mentioned the other day, Ed. Shout out. Let's
Big
go.
time. Big time. Ed, can't wait to see you. Like I said, I'll probably be at the Honky Tonk Bar, whichever one that is, at the Seville Quarter. But yeah, Jeff and I will be rolling into town. We'll get on the road as soon as his show's over tomorrow.
Do the Lemmixes all get singular photos with you, Corey, or is it still limited to one per family?
No, they do. They get, and they can, obviously whatever they want. They get at least a 4-minute conversation, each of them. No, obviously that's all a joke. Clearly, come talk to me wherever you are. Ed, you get to sit with me. You can. I don't care. We can go home. I'll go back. I'll go hang out with you afterwards. But everyone else, yeah, man, just come up and say, hey, we're nice people. We like to interact. Hey, and you can ask me about the quarterback.
That's what Gator Kirk wants to know. Not taking phone calls tonight. Probably we might not be taking phone calls moving forward. Just kind of it's a lot for me to juggle audio issues and stuff, and just kind of keeps kind of off tempo sometimes. You know how we want to be a smooth humming machine here on the program for everybody. Gator Kirk says, does it matter who starts at quarterback? My belief is both will play on numerous drives during the Notre Dame game. I mean, it matters, man. It's I think they're two not completely different guys, but I think we'll sit here on Monday and wonder, would the game have been different if one of the, I don't think we'll be like, it wouldn't have mattered who started at quarterback. It always matters, man.
Well, yeah, this isn't like Leonard's basketball team where it truly doesn't matter who starts. He's had 2 straight top 5 picks that didn't start for him. With quarterback, yeah, it does matter because you assume whoever's starting is getting the majority of the reps in practice and will get the majority of the reps in that game. I do think it matters for this game. I don't know that they'll both play numerous drives this game. I do foresee them both being a big part of the offense this season. But for the first game, and it's such a big game, I think there's a chance they could both play, get snaps, and maybe, who knows? And trust me, I'm not giving away any information because we have not seen this, but maybe be on the field at the same time. I don't know any of that stuff, but I do know that moving forward, I think they're planning on both of those guys getting reps, getting snaps for this offense. And I think they're going to need both of them because, again, I mean, I'm probably the biggest Jordan Travis fan there is. He has no history of staying healthy. Again, it's one season. That's probably not fair. I'm not going to label him injury prone, but he had a hard time staying healthy. So you can't assume if he's the one starting that he'll be starting 12 straight weeks with no problem.
Let's see here. Khalil came back. Khalil said that the Alex Smith injury was way worse than Mackenzie Milton's. So that's
okay,
it.
right. Well, he did have like 30-something surgeries, didn't he? And they thought maybe he would lose his leg. Milton's was terrible too, though. They were
17. Alex Smith had.
So how do you know that off the top?
Well, because I Googled it because I saw.
Okay, nice. He had 17 surgeries.
Yeah, man. I know he had the infection. That's what that was. I mean,
right.
The infection is what was so horrible. That's what made him almost lose his leg, maybe almost lose his life. Structurally, I don't know how it all meshes up. I mean, the last thing I was able to see from Milton was that he had 5 in 2019, he was up to 5. So I don't know how many more he's gotten cleaned up since then. Probably not 12 more. But okay, you're right. There you go. Enjoy that one. Take a lap. The victory,
hey man, don't talk
victory
to Khalil
lap.
like that. Yeah. Khalil's our man. I don't want you to be snippy with Khalil.
I'm saying victory lap. Let's see here. Big Steve-O says if our defensive line is as advertised, which I don't know how we're advertising it, Steve-O. Don't be putting words in our mouth. I think Florida State can pull off the upset. I believe the offense will put up points, but if we can get something like a pass rush, we will be okay. Yeah, man, that quarterback will feel it. It'll affect him for sure.
And I think that the advertising that we've done about the defensive line, in my opinion, and again, it's, I don't know what it looked like last year. I saw what it looked like against Georgia Tech and everything else moving forward. I can't imagine it was dominant in practice last year, that defensive line. Those guys were either banged up or out of shape or not there, whatever. The defensive line as it is now advertised is an improvement. We're not saying it's the best one in the country, but it's better. Fabian Lovett, man, I watched him today just wreck a double team. He threw one of the Florida State linemen, a guy that will probably start, to the ground with one arm. That's not great if you're a Florida State offensive line fan, which I assume you are. But Fabian Lovett, is different. He's better than he was last year. Briggs is better. Jermaine Johnson's a better defensive end than anything they had last year. Cooper's back. So, I think Keir Thomas is a solid dude that can play at this level and play pretty well. At worst, I think he's a J-Rob. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the very worst. And then Kendo is an upgrade or Johnson's an upgrade over Kendo. So, yeah, just make it a little tough for them to run the ball. Like, you know what I mean? I know a pass rush is big, but Notre Dame doesn't want to throw a ton. They'd be happy throwing 18 times in that game. I don't know what Book threw last year, but it wasn't a ton. They want to run on you. And if you can get those defensive tackles, those three, Cooper, Fabian Lovett, Dennis Briggs, to stop the run, and we'll see what the linebackers do, then you got yourself a chance. But the linebackers are still iffy.
Can you please say that Jermaine Johnson's better at sacking the quarterback than anything you had last year, instead of saying that he's just better?
No.
Numbers don't flesh that out.
I don't know. The numbers do. One metric that you use, which is PFF, does not flesh that out. But I'm not using that metric. I'm using my eyes, and I'm using a statistical box score. He is a difference maker. Josh Kendo is not a difference maker. Josh Kendo could set the edge, I guess, pretty well. He did have a sack this weekend, though.
He did.
So good for him.
He did. In case you all forgot.
Also, you've seen Jermaine Johnson practice.
I didn't see Josh Kendo practice, though.
But you saw him play against similar type offensive tackles. It's not like he was going against, John Hanna or Anthony Munoz every week.
Oh, strong. I like that.
John Hanna might have been, I think he was a guard too. That might have been a little too old school, but so is Munoz, but still. It wasn't like he was going up against incredible talent, and he never came close to making a big play other than the nice read he had against North Carolina for the pick six.
So you're 371 snaps, 20 pressures versus 189 snaps, 11 pressures. So coverage is where he makes it up. I mean, he's a 70 on PFF. Jermaine Johnson, Kendo was a 74, but his coverage was much higher than Jermaine Johnson. But I don't really know what sort of island they're going to leave Jermaine Johnson on when it comes to coverage. So
not once. And also remember that it was 5 sacks. I know PFF has them for 4. It's 5 sacks and 189 snaps compared to 0 sacks and 350 snaps. So it's cool that he pressured some quarterbacks. Every now and again, you want to get those guys on the ground.
Well, if you got good coverage, maybe you'll pick off some passes too. I just don't know why we beat up on poor Josh Kendo.
Sorry, Josh. Sorry, man. You're my guy. Just he was a bit of a disappointment last year in the sack game.
Walt, baby, not to be confused with the great Walt Bell. Have our centers been more consistent snapping the ball?
Well,
not.
No. Well, actually, yeah, they have been pretty consistent.
Consistently, yeah.
Yeah, consistently right at your ankles. That's something that they need to get cleaned up. Again, they have a week and a half. I don't think this isn't like brand new information, but yes, the snaps are not ideal. They're not belt/crotch level a lot, which is where you'd like them. Maybe leave it at the chest, like right at the stomach chest. Right. There's a lot of Derek Jeter going on. Not ground balls, but quick hands to your ankles. That needs to get fixed.
For sure. Because I think so much of what we're going to have to see Jordan's development is going to be a confidence thing. I don't know how much of it's going to be mechanical. I know they, talked about his footwork got better, his accuracy got better.
By the way, real quick, Dave, I see your comment. Shut up. I didn't mean to say it like that, but that is what I said. Do you see what he said?
Oh, did Cord just say Kano was a disappointment in the sack?
Sack game. The sack game is what I meant to say.
Ooh, misspeaking. But yeah, let's not make the poor kid. I mean, being able to see things, process your data as quickly as possible is a lot better when you're going like this and the ball's right here and you can start looking as opposed to going there and your eyes are down and it makes a world of difference for a guy that's trying to find confidence and trying to clean up on things. So hopefully they do get that out of their system here because it's not encouraging. Justin Thickpen, I didn't even read this. This name doesn't seem all that familiar. I think he might have done it once or twice. Maybe this is his first time. Who knows? But $50. Let's go, Justin.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Thank you, Justin.
Man, the real JT. Old Dig Dog. Dig Dog coming through.
Tre'shaun Ward, he says, is the most dynamic running back on the team at this point. Been telling my friends since last year the same thing, and now they finally believe me. You see it too, Corey. Big year for him. Hope all is well, Aslan. Yeah, man. Good. Had a sandwich before this, other than my AC vent being installed like a complete imbecile. My day's been going well. What made you think that, Justin? Post in the comments. Like, why did you think he was the most dynamic? Based off the Duke game, or did you have like a hunch? Did you see him in high school? Did you play against him in high school?
Wouldn't you say, though, Aslan, didn't he have a couple of big runs in Jacksonville, too?
He had a good day. I don't know if it was in Jacksonville or maybe before he went there, but he's had some days where you're like, good Lord, man.
Yeah.
Like, where's this coming from? And why is it not there all the I mean, that's me being me, but yeah, man, you see something different in him that you don't see in the other guys.
And we'll see, man. It's Notre Dame, and it's a guy that hasn't played a lot in his career. So I'm not expecting him to maybe be out there for 25 snaps against Notre Dame. The next week he should get a bunch of carries, and then after that you go from there. I would compare it to I shouldn't, but Rashad Green was kind of not an afterthought, but he didn't get a ton of run early on in his freshman season. I think he made his first play he was out there, he caught a touchdown from Clint Trickett. And it's like, oh, okay, that's what Rashad Green can do. Although he looked great in practice, Jimbo, about playing true freshman at wide receiver. But he did so well in that game, the game that didn't matter. It was Murray State or somebody. I can't remember who it was. It was somebody they beat by a lot. He got some valuable reps in that game, and then he became the best receiver and was catching for like 200 yards against Clemson a couple weeks later, made the great catch against Oklahoma. So maybe that's where Ward takes off. He has a game against Jacksonville State. I'm not predicting him to do great against Notre Dame, but maybe he has 2 long runs against Jacksonville State, and then he's worked into the rotation, and he becomes legitimate weapon. Because I would say Pokey and him, maybe Keyshawn too, are the 3 guys with the best burst, straight ahead speed of anybody on the offense. It would look like.
Yeah, I'm a less is more kind of guy. I think it's so much of a rhythm position and being able to get a feel for your offensive line and what the defense is throwing at you. It's going to be interesting to see how they deploy these guys because they do like Corbin. They're obviously high on Toafili. It's hard to deny Tre'shaun Ward playing time with the way he's practicing. DJ Williams has had a couple nice flashes. Deontay Sheffield's a guy that's on scholarship too. We're not seeing him as much involved in the plans. Shouldn't have said that, I guess, maybe. Sorry. But I do wonder how that works out because I get it, man. Like you have to be on your P's and Q's. Like you're only going to get when you're Tre'shaun Ward and they trot you out there for that one play that you've been working in scout team and you've been hitting, like you've got to make it happen. And if you don't, then it brings everything down because that's a rep that got taken away from Toafili or got taken away from Corbin or an RPO that Jordan Travis could hold on to. So it's going to be interesting to see how they manage, I guess, the pressure of being able to capitalize on these limited opportunities. Justin, thank you, man.
Thank you very much, man.
And I'll see if you have any follow-up comments on Tre'shaun Ward. Love Barbecue and Noles ask, have we seen Notre Dame practice yet? How good do they look? I haven't seen them yet. I'm gonna start scouting them this weekend, though. I'm gonna start seeing what I can find out, do some recon on them. But no, yeah, we're a unique situation here. Being able to watch practice, nobody else really gets to do that. So
I'm assuming Brian Kelly isn't opening that thing up to the Notre Dame media.
Yeah. So, all right, let's see here. Who do you think is going to start at linebacker? Or we can't talk about that, can we, Corey? Does that get us in trouble?
I think we can give our opinions.
Okay.
What we've seen doesn't necessarily mean that's the way it will be. I think that's a tough one, man. That is a tough one. I would say it's between Lundy, Deloach, and Gaynor. would be my three guys that I think I maybe Dix, but I just just from our observations, it looks like those three guys are ahead of him. So that if I was gonna, and who knows if they'll even be in a 4-3 or he said Fuller said Sunday, sometimes they'll have one linebacker, two linebackers, three linebackers on the field. I think those three are your top three. Those are the guys that have been talked about the most. Those are the guys in practice to me that have been around the football the most.
Marcos,
that fair? I think that was fair.
Yeah, no, I agree with that too. Those, I couldn't give you two right now. But I like those three. I think, Lundy, Gaynor, and Deloach are probably in the mix for if you're going to be 4-2-5 base or whatever. Those are in the mix for your two linebackers. Marcos also listens to Jeff Cameron, who made a point about how this team will react and bounce back after adversity. If they get down 14-0 early, do they give up or keep playing with intent and pull through? I don't want to see that. I guess it's a good barometer, but I wouldn't want to be in that position.
Well, you don't want to see it. Probably you're interested to see how that, because it will happen. They're going to get down by multiple scores at some point this season, and to see how they respond. Because Liam, man, that's been the main problem this team has had the last few years is talent. Clearly, it's not a lot of dudes being drafted high off this roster. But one of the bigger problems they've had is that kind of a, I'm a bald mid-40s sports writer, so I'm not about calling kids mentally untough, but they just haven't had that bounce back that you would like any athletic team to have. They haven't really had that in them. When it starts going bad, it stays going bad. And I'll be honest, I don't want to throw this all on one player, and I'm not going to. It's going to sound like it, but one of the things James Blackman really struggled with is unspiraling. Once it started going bad for him, it spiraled into the ground, into the core, into the magma, and he never was able to climb out. Jordan Travis, to me, doesn't seem to get quite in those ruts, but he was also hurt when the Louisville game. He's not himself there after the second quarter. Pittsburgh, he gets hurt. North Carolina, he gets banged up in the fourth quarter. So if he can stay relatively healthy, or if Mackenzie Milton can be relatively healthy, will they be better at rebounding a team? Because I feel like, man, last year when they got down by 2 scores, the defense knew, okay, our offense isn't going to come back. It's just not. And then the defense was like, all right, well, I guess we'll see y'all next week. So hopefully that has been kind of transitioned out of this program a little bit.
Listen to Chad Humphrey, everybody. Hit the thumbs up button like a Miami player trying to hitch a ride to their stadium.
Nice.
Quotation marks around their stadium.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah. Hit it. It just pushes it out. Don't worry. They're not gonna put the nanobots in your body or anything if you hit the like button. It just promotes the video. Helps us out.
Yep, absolutely. Like and subscribe, right?
There you go. You know it. Kelly Hoffhines says that Notre Dame has highlights out there of their scrimmage in 11-on-11.
Okay.
All right, cool. I will look at it this weekend. I will start to break things down. Justin's back says, I just watched a lot of people's film, and someone told me about Tre'shaun Ward before he came to FSU as a walk-on. I liked what I saw, even though he's undersized, but he's so dynamic. Imagine if he was Cook size.
He's I don't know who to compare him to, but he's a little ball of energy, but he's not like skinny. He's thick. He's compact.
Like Anton Smith.
Maybe. I mean, that's not a terrible comparison. He seems to me, and Anton was a nice college player, so I'm not saying Tre'shaun Ward is better than him. He seems to have maybe a little bit more wiggle than old Anton did. Yeah, how about Anton? I think he played with the Falcons for like 6 years. Like he was a special teams demon.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
He also had one of the best quotes I've ever heard on this beat was when I was working at the Democrat. Doug Blackburn asked him, who was the assistant sports editor at the time, asked Anton what he wanted to do after his football career was over. And he goes, he wanted to get in business. It was either going to be I think he said a liquor store or a funeral home because they never go out of business.
Yeah.
I'm like, buddy, that's the right way to think.
Got to figure it out. Dan Squatch says, I dipped into Irish Breakdown the other day. They said they've only got to see 2 practices all camp.
That's 2 more than I thought they would have seen. I know most schools, Georgia, I think Clemson's opened up a couple, but Georgia's still not they're still just doing Zoom interviews, and you get to talk to Kirby once a week. So we're lucky, man. Well, I say it actually makes our job a little harder, right, Aslan? Like we got to get up and go to practice and watch things and write it down. But it's really cool for you guys. It's just awesome. It's awesome that we're allowed that kind of that you guys and we are allowed that much access.
Let me ask you this. I won't answer for myself, but just I know so much of like fan expectation is like what if, like, or why not? Like, why not us? Like, why wouldn't this 4-star kid who was recruited heavily 2 years ago, why would he not have a good offseason and maybe be able to grow and, have a big breakout this year? So how much of your expectations in the past as a writer, not being able to see the way, not being able to see practice because Jimbo kept it closed. I mean, so what were you basing? Was it a hunch? Was it just the brand? Like they have to be good. And how different is it now that, I mean, we're not going to be surprised, are we? I don't think we won't be surprised what we're going to see on Sunday.
I wouldn't think. I think the only time I've really felt burned was 18. And it was because, that team had rallied at the end of that season behind James Blackman. They won their last 4 games, not against great competition, but one of those wins was Florida against Randy Shannon, who's now on the Florida State staff. So they had won 4 games in a row to close out that season. They had Francois coming back, and they had an offense that seemed simpler, lethally, might I say, lethally more simple or simpler. Who knows? Who cares? You don't watch me for grammar. And I just thought, okay, and they got Cam Akers. I just thought, okay, they should just fall into 8 wins at the very least. And they could be better. They should be better than they were in 17 because a lot of those losses were close losses, save for Boston College. And they still won 7 games that year. So I'm like, okay, the offense is going to be better because it's going to be faster, blah, 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 blah. I had all these reasons. If we'd have watched practice in August, golly, I hope I would have been like, oh, okay, hold up, everyone. Hold up. Let's rein it in a little. They don't do well. They don't block real well. They can't run anything that matters. You know what I mean? That's what I think that was a big one to just assume based on what you saw to end last season and not seeing any practices that, okay, that they're going to be better when they clearly weren't.
I think we always have good questions. I only pull up the good questions, Corey, but some questions are just better than others. Get down or lay down. Why Seminole headlines billed as Jeff, Ira, and Corey? Shouldn't it be Corey, Clark, and company? The other 2 are just along for the ride.
I've always thought about it's great. Get down or lay down. Probably the best question we ever had on this show. Probably. I was always wondering about the guys that are in like the Dave Matthews Band. Like they're a band and they've been together from the beginning. Like the drummer, the guitarist, like the fiddler before he got into trouble. They were all in the same band together. I think they started out in Virginia together. And then they're like, man, what do we want to call ourselves? The Neon Trees, the Slinkies, Elephant, whatever, the Pack of Elephants. And he's like, no, why don't we call ourselves Dave Matthews Band? Oh, cool, man. Yeah, you want to just name the band after yourself? That's awesome. That's not egotistical at all. But with that said, it should just be called Corey Clark headlines and leave it at that, right?
Yeah. Nick C. Oh, see what he did there? It must be a Knicks fan, but I think his name is also Nick. Corey, most of Willie's guys are gone or just haven't performed. Can we say that first Taggart class is overrated?
Absolutely.
There we go. We got
just
Jordan Young, Tre'shaun Harrison, 4-star, Anthony Grant, 4-star, Jamarcus Chapman, I think he's at Troy, Malcolm Lamar's at FAU, who's a 4-star, Keyshawn Helton's still here, 3-star, Warren Thompson, 4-star at Arkansas, Briggs, Hope for sure. Xavier Peters, I think, is back at JUCO after going to Kentucky and leaving. Jalen Goss has not been able to get on the field, 3-stars, Cameron McDonald, 4-star. It's time, big guy. Isaiah Bolden's in Jackson State and Jackson, Mississippi, playing for Dion, 4-star. Christian Meadows never got on the field. Injuries, 3-star. Jalen Lars would be a 5-star. That's a lofty expectation, lofty ranking. Didn't live up to it. We'll see if BC can get something out of him. Chaz Neal transferred, gone. Christian Armstrong, injuries, gone, 4-star. DeMarcus Adams, 4-star, gone. Gainer still here. AJ Litton, gone. I think he's at Penn State now. Asante. All right. Robert Cooper. You got a year to make it all right too. So that's
awful. It's just awful. Yes.
But he didn't have a lot of time to put this together. I mean,
the thing is,
that was ranked 10th. Look at that. 10th.
I mean, there's a lot of 4 and 5 stars. That was what encouraged me so much when he was hired, was like, oh my gosh, he put together this class in 3 weeks. What's he going to do with a full year? And it didn't pan out. Like, I'm not blaming him for these guys not maybe being the guys they thought they were going to be, or not working out necessarily, but you just read 20-something names, and one of them was a star. Like, Cam McDonald still has a chance. Amari Gaynor still has a chance, but now's the year for both those dudes. Keyshawn, through no fault of his own, he was an afterthought. He was like the last guy they offered. And he might end up being the 3rd or 4th, maybe the 2nd best player out of that class, behind Asante. And yeah, man, you look at those names, you can't win like that. You can't win when you have that much attrition. What is 60% of those dudes are gone after 3 years? Like, that's not how you win. That's not how you win football games.
Now let's look at what Mike Norvell did in 3 weeks in 2020, the 20th ranked class with 25 commitments. And sorry for all the jumping around the screen. Sidney Williams is, I think, a guy they like. DJ Lundy's a guy that we just talked about, maybe starting. TJ Davis, a little bit of a project. Darian Williamson is a guy that we see out there making plays on occasion. You think he's got a chance? Marqueason Douglas is a fun kid to watch play tight end.
Yeah.
Robert Scott is their long-term solution at left tackle. Corey Wren, we'll see, hopefully. LaDamian Webb, I think he's back at a junior college. Kentron, we'll see. Brian Robinson, I guess we'll see times 2. Chuba, Josh Griffis gone. Mastromano's your punter, and it's looked really good this camp. I know it's a punter. We can laugh, but he has looked quite well. But a lot of that was a Willie one, though. They kind of held on to it. But Willie and his staff found Mastromano. But Rodemaker Toafili, Schrader's a guy they really like. He's hurt. Willis is a guy that's got high upside. Manny Rogers didn't make it here. Jakai's quite versatile. Carter Boatwright, Jayon McCluster, Zane Herring, injuries, battling. Steven Dix, probably in the mix at your linebacker spot. Demore Tate. I think Demore Tate looks good. I don't know if he's where he factors into their plans. And then Jadarius Green McKnight's a guy that Norvell mentioned by name today. So
yeah, it's
amazing, but a little bit more encouraging.
Yeah, but again, maybe we'd have said that in 19 after that. It's not like all those guys from Willie's first class left that early, and we knew we could make a definitive statement on what their careers would be. So we'll see. But again, understand that Willie was recruiting from a different – Florida State was different in 2018. They had one bad season. They were 12 months away from playing in the Orange Bowl, like 12 months removed from playing in the Orange Bowl. This team is now 48 months removed from playing in the Orange Bowl. So that's what he wasn't recruiting with, maybe the same gravitas that Willie got back then. But yeah, man, we'll see. We'll see on that list. It's not great. It was, you could do that with a lot of recruiting classes, though. Ones that are highly rated, and then some of them just don't pan out. I think, Woodby clearly wasn't a 5-star, not in the Florida State caliber of 5-star DBs. And the other guys, other than Asante Samuel, Robert Cooper's had a solid career, but he's not incredible. He's not a superstar. So it was certainly a disappointing class. You hope that the transfer portal helps, but you hope that these guys, the guys that Norvell and his staff have recruited, pan out a lot better than that one did. I mean, Lee, look at those first 5 names. Jordan Young's still on the team, but he hasn't done a whole lot. And then those next 4, yeesh.
Yeah. Hit that thumbs up button, y'all. Let's we'll take a few more questions here as we wind down here. Just accidentally popped up old Ray.
Anytime he tweets, but anytime he comments, you should probably pop him up.
I never knew what he looked like. I would not have thought that's the way that Wes and the Villages would have looked like. But there's Wes in the Villages. Says, "What's up, fellas? Realize you weren't taking calls. I had a good one lined up. Hopefully catch it. Well, you could have just typed it out, Wes. Drink the Luna Coffee. Subscribe to Warchant. You're flipping a right, man. You are flipping a right. Do that.
Do it. Do it.
Let's see. What else we got here? We got a bunch. I'm trying to read quickly here. Fewood Streams. I used to hit the leech with Anton back in the day. Good times.
Okay.
Good.
All right.
Cool. Let's see. Oh, that's not a nice comment. Somebody talk about Notre Dame. Chip Corley says he prefers the shows without the call-ins. Just slows things down. Audio quality of the callers is usually not good. We're taking, into consideration here. we like what you guys have to say, so we'll listen to what you have to say. How will the coaches react to the noise at a full Doak? I mean, how excited will it be for them, right? I mean, Mike Norvell signed for this iconic brand. He didn't really get an iconic sort of feel.
Yeah, no, man, most of those kids, right? I mean, good grief. It's not like it's not like they have a lot of veterans on that team that were around in, I don't know, the 2018 Tamori and Terry catch against Boston College. It feels like the last time Doak Campbell Stadium cheered loud. So yeah, no, none of these guys, really, nobody on the roster, nobody on the coaching staff, save for Hagans and Dugans, and Randy Shannon, understand what Doak Campbell at night in a big game against a good team, marquee, and the team is playing well, what it sounds like, what it feels like. They've never felt it. None of those guys have felt it. So it would be nice if they got that a couple times this year. Just going to throw that out there. Starting Labor Day night or Labor Day Eve night would be cool to see.
Yeah, man. All right, that's a wrap for us. KH asks, are there any new updates on Destin Hill? Nah, man. Check out the PRB, Premium Recruiting Board. Michael Langston might be able to help you out with that recruiting question. So, but thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. Nonetheless, don't forget, everybody, tomorrow, Thursday, if you're listening to this on the podcast, today, later on in Pensacola, 5:30 p.m. at a 7-bar facility, apparently. Seville Quarter, Corey Clark, Jeff Cameron, the top billing.
The Lamoxon will be there. Go introduce yourself to them. Go buy their coffee.
I bet James B will be there. That's just next
be.
words.
Yeah.
So 5:30. It's free to attend. RSVP again. Corey and Jeff will be there. Jeff's show with Tom Lang goes 1 to 3 o'clock on Thursday. So tune into that. We'll be back out at practice Thursday. Updates. We get Odell and players. If you want us to ask Odell a question, I don't know.
Ask him who he thinks the starting quarterback is going to be. You should advertise your the Trench Talk. If you're watching this, go back and watch the it's on this channel, Warchant TV, the Trench Talk with our man Devontae Love Taylor. Aslan hosts it, and they do great. Devontae, he's going to run he could be a politician. No, I don't want to say that about him. That's not a nice thing to say about someone. He can do anything he wants after football. He's a very intelligent, funny, thoughtful, personable young man, and that's a really cool show. So go watch it.
Yeah. Thanks to Justin. Thank you to Ed. Thank you to Khalil, Eric, and Ray. We certainly appreciate the tips. Hit the thumbs up on your way out. We nearly appreciate that as much as cold hard cash. I mean it. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thanks so much for listening and watching Wake Up Warchant. Stay connected to warchant.com. It's your ultimate Seminoles sports source. Drink some DeLuna coffee, y'all. Have a great one. Throw the deuces up, Corey.